Why do people say rich folks only donate for the tax write-off? A lot of them donate to non-profits that they also control, so they get tax write-offs, but still get some direction on what the money does. You are correct. If you are in the 25 tax bracket, let's say you donated $1,000 to a charity during the tax year. That $1,000 donation to charity would reduce your taxable income by $1,000. If you were to owe 25 tax on that $1,000, the donation would effectively save you $250 on your tax bill. But yeah, it would have effectively gone in the negative on $750 in the end. Because a lot of people don't understand anything about taxes, tax brackets, write-offs, any of it. Mostly it's people just babbling incoherently, because many of the organizations they donate to are founded by them. Most of what people are saying here is correct. In addition, the ultra-rich often have their own foundations. They can donate to the foundation and direct where the funds go. Sometimes the funds could indirectly benefit them. Let's say they set up a foundation dedicated to preserving wildlife and forests. The foundation then purchases thousands of acres of land that just happens to be located adjacent to the ultra-rich person's vacation home. They have effectively acquired the land with a tax write-off and avoided property taxes. Of course, they are also limited in what they can do with the land, but if the goal is unfettered access to wildlands and no one can build near you, mission accomplished. Because they donate to the charities of their rich friends, so they just shift money and keep it in the same circle to avoid giving it to the government. In turn, they gain power and get a tax write-off. Rich people always say I didn't get this wealthy by giving away. I've heard almost every boss company owner I've ever had, about 25, say that. Let's say Paul McCartney buys a guitar for $100. He donates this guitar, signed, to a charity auction and sells it off for $10,000. He can now claim he donated $10,000. So the most economical way to donate is to start your own 501c3 that addresses a community need and then use the post as a job resource for your friends. That way your donations go directly to a cause you are passionate about, and the allowable, each state has a different amount, administrative percentage of donations goes directly to your friends. This way you get to the maximum tax write-off for your donations, keep your friends gainfully employed, and assist in meeting the needs of the community. In this way it is a win-win. I did this in Oklahoma. It's folks who don't understand how tax write-offs work using their ignorance to downplay something positive done by someone they don't approve of. Because you assume they just donate money, that's not how their donations work. They often just run very stupid transparent money laundering schemes. I'm not rich, but I own a business. Any donation I make is on behalf of the business. My business gets a deduction, but the donations won't go above my standard deduction that I get for my household income. Well, we set up a simple situation. I own a business that sells food, but I know Mike who runs a charity to feed the starving. I say, hey Mike, how's about I give you $1 million as a donation? So Mike gets my money, and then he needs to spend it on food. I happen to sell food, so we'll give him a deal while still making a profit. So he gives me my own money back that I'm writing off, and in return I'm giving him food which is not worth what he's paying. Since I'm making a profit on it, now we can pretend that I'm both guys at the same time. It's all a bit more complex than that, but you get the point. More importantly, keep in mind that charity is how the ultra-wealthy launder their reputations. If you look at what they give as of net worth, it's usually significantly lower than the average person. Further, it doesn't matter what kind of asshole you are, how many lives you ruined, how horrid your business practices were. If you gave away some money, the first line on your wiki article and your obituary will read philanthropist. There are ways to use tax write-off donations to just launder money. I don't know what percentage of big money donations fall into this category, but some do, especially when the rich guy makes his own foundation and puts himself and all his family and friends on the board. Lots of times they just spending their own and other people's money, throwing big parties for themselves and getting tax breaks and public credit as though they are helping people. But the real criticism is a little more nuanced. But the history of tax write-off donations started with the robber barons making a big show of donating money to make a hospital to distract from their mines and factories, crippling workers, their hired goons beating up or shooting striking workers, etc. The easiest way to become a good billionaire is to make a big show of giving away your money, and very often that money doesn't really get very far from the guy's pockets anyway. Yes, but they are deciding where to put the money. It doesn't matter so much if they donate to something like Doctors Without Borders, rather than have their taxes go toward government spending that, in part, might have similar good effects for people around the world. Though you can still presumably see the difference even there. But what if some rich person is a member of, let's say, the Society for Overthrowing Civil Society and replacing all public institutions with agencies controlled by private armies? then in that case, they definitely don't want their tax money to go to the government. That same government will hopefully fight their aims tooth and nail, so they would want to eliminate their tax contributions by instead donating to this charitable organization. Yes, it is still an expense, but you can see how for someone who is sufficiently motivated, it would be appealing or even vitally necessary that they do it this way. Because it makes people feel better about themselves not donating, as if a rich asshole would do something out of the goodness of their hearts that I don't do. Because when Billionaire X donates to a charity, it's usually to Billionaire X's charitable foundation. Trump once donated a painting of himself to his own charitable organization, then had it hung in the headquarters of that organization, and that was considered a several $1,000 value donation. Do you mean donate items or money? I mean rich people clean out their closets and home items like everyone else. Why wouldn't they donate the stuff to charity? What else would they do with it? If you mean giant checks, regular rich people, like not the ones you could name or ever see in the news, do it to support certain causes. Sure, they'll deduct the charitable donation from their taxable income at the end of the year, but it's still giving away money. Barring some crazy schemes discussed here, which are definitely not the norm, they don't come out ahead. The gain is still in meeting personal philanthropic goals. If you ask them, they'll usually say something like I'd rather charity cause have it than the government. For some rough thumbnail, donating $10,000 to charity reduces their taxable income by $10,000. If they are in the highest tax bracket, 37, never mind marginal taxes for a minute, that means they reduce what they owe the government by $3,700. But they are still out $10K.